Detroit Lions dominate the Jacksonville Jaguars from start to finish, 40-14, and there's a ton of different layers to get into with this football game. But I think first and foremost, Terry and D-Mac, it was turn and burn. They kicked off, Lions forced a turnover, and boom, the game was over. When was the last time that you had a game with the Detroit Lions in it where they jump out to a lead, and in the back of your mind is not kicking around saying, well, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Terry, I never felt for a second like Jacksonville was going to be a factor in that football game.
No, they weren't. They were overwhelmed. And the funny thing about this game is you can have an argument. Your only argument is what part of the Lions did you like the best? Some people say Jared Goff, and he was excellent. The running game was excellent. My personal favorite was the offensive line. Just watching the way these guys maneuvered was phenomenal. And then the defense, who we've picked on all year, was very solid. Aggressive to the ball. They attacked the quarterback. They were excellent. So this is something I'm not used to. I'm not used to the Lions doing a complete game. And, when they do stuff like this, I'm off their ass. But when they screw around and lose games they should win, then that's when I'm rough on them. A game like this,
there's nothing you can say.
Nothing.
Even
and
you,
I,
Terry.
And I won't.
Even you, Terry, the biggest Lions hater, according to the WoodwardSports.com chat
I'm not
thread.
a Lions hater. I hate what the Lions have done to the fan base around here because y'all have no expectations. All you talk about is, if we can win a couple games, we'll be happy about that.
D-Mac, your takeaways.
Yeah, no, I think, Terry nailed it, and you nailed it, Neal, too, as far as watching the game and having that feeling as you want it. You always reserve back to other shoe dropping, but in that game, they just kept taking care of business. And for me, it's always defensively, right? It was nice to see DJ Chark show up against his former team. It looked like, the passion, not just getting on as many catches that he did and as productive as he was, but he looked engaged. They all looked engaged. What I really liked is the secondary and the linebacker play. I saw Anzalone make a couple good plays. Malcolm's always there, but the defense was disrupting passes, pass lanes, making it tough to catch. Getting there that split second earlier, like we're always used to them getting there that split second late. So I like to see things differently, but I like to see the progress, and I saw it throughout. I like to see our kicker, even though when we're scoring, kicking field goals like other teams. That's what I liked, Neal. Yesterday it felt like, just like I mentioned last segment about having a real NHL team now, yesterday felt the way that most other teams feel about their NFL team.
And look, Badgley's been great. I'm still on the Jake Moody one round above slot, by the way. I am still on. I originated that. I'm staying with that. But anyway, whatever.
Yeah, no, that's fine with me. I didn't say,
yeah.
But it's just nice to see everybody. Like to Terry's point, Terry nailed it. What did you like the best?
Right.
Right. When do you ever get to say that? Right. Usually we're saying, well, at least our punter, he was great.
Right.
And they didn't even need to use him yesterday, which also shows you that, right?
Right.
Or back in the day, Jason Hanson, the field goal kicker, sure was great today.
Pro Bowl kicker, Pro Bowl punter, every single year. Woodward Sports.
And long snapper.
WoodwardSports.com chat thread. Rack says, Neal, after 2 weeks of Chark being healthy and producing, you think the Lions take a second look at re-signing him next year, or do you think that will be JMO progression dependent? And look, Chark is in that Swift category right now. Like when he's out there and he's playing, he's very, very good. I think that's up to Chark at this point because it will be price dependent. And I think, again, D-Mac brought this up where what he says about Steve Yzerman all the time. I think Brad Holmes has that in him as well. At least that's what his track record's shown, where he's not at the club making it rain. He's not doing that. Everything is driven. Everything is with a purpose, and it will be interesting to see how Chark progresses through the end of the year.
I think the question goes to Terry because when you were out last week, one of the conversations is with Jameson Williams coming back being your number one, but we need a number two. Terry, could DJ Chark price point and be that number two talent-wise, if he's available, receiver for this team.
Well, I need to talk to my capologist first. But
What do you need? What do you need?
That's good, dude.
My-
we're breaking
my
it. We got it.
first
See how you did that, dude?
just a second.
Now we all go
I'm
to
willing
you.
to move on from Mr. Shark. I
Is
don't.
it money? Is it because of the
No,
money?
it's not because of I don't think he's going to be good from this point forward.
Especially for the money that he'll command.
And the money, yes.
yeah.
The money. I love money.
See, when you're away, we're still doing work.
I
around
see.
here.
I see.
But
I
we got
see.
a young buck coming in, and I think the young buck is going to be good once he gets his feet wet. And the one thing I am proud of the fan base is that people didn't really dog him for yesterday because it was his first game back in the NFL forever, and he doesn't have a chemistry with Jared Goff yet. He doesn't have a chemistry with that offense yet. So give him time. But by the time this guy goes through a training camp, he's going to be ready next
I
year.
thought Dan Campbell did a great job yesterday, at least to me, explaining to me how yesterday was just for Mr. William Moore to get acclimated to game day and the NFL level, being around, stretching, So if he would have caught that pass that he almost had would have been out of bounds or something, they weren't looking to target him. They were just to get him into the flow. And I think that was great, too, because we talked about not only statistically what Jameson Williams is going to put on, but what he means to the rest of the team. And I think if you can't say, for whatever reason, if that wasn't an extra bit of motivation for the rest of the team to go out and play because that kid is there, that does happen in the room when you have a good young kid, because only they know what he's putting in behind the scenes to be able to get there. And that's the sort of bond and those little intangible things that we're seeing. So I'm not worried as he progresses and he gets ready that they're going to find whatever chemistry. The question is, I wish Spencer was here, is he going to be able to throw the bar far enough so that he doesn't outrun it? That's different. We'll find out. But I was happy. You get a big win like that in a game like that when you don't need to showcase what's going to be your Ferrari. That's benefit.
And a 40 burger on the board
And a 40
as well.
burg.
WoodwardSports.com chat thread, DNCENT says the fact that the Lions and Jags are considered to be the, quote, same team is absolutely disgusting. And look, I get where people are coming from with that. I understand it. And somebody like Easy might fall for that. But, the bottom line is they are nowhere near the same team. Because 2 years from now, the Lions have about $70 more million in cap space than Jacksonville does. Like, they're nowhere near the same team. And you know what the biggest difference between the two on the field are? And no one's going to want to hear this. The quarterback spot, as what we saw yesterday. One guy operated with precision. You might not, and look, Sam Flynn, I saw you raise your eyebrows. You might not like that. But that's the truth.
I mean, I like Jared Goff. I think he played a hell of a game yesterday, but I like Trevor Lawrence too. I don't think that loss was really 100% on him. But as of right now, obviously Jared Goff is a better quarterback today. As far as projections, we'll see.
2 years from now, who would you rather have, Jared Goff or Trevor Lawrence? I'm going Trevor Lawrence.
I'm going Trevor Lawrence as well. I think he's a future. I think he's a future superstar.
But get more to the fact. How about Ben, with Jared Goff and Ben Johnson, the game planning and stuff like that, there's got to be something to it. So reality, Neal, is when you look at the money and everything else, that Goff doing things like he did yesterday only helps his case to be here next year and even in the conversation for beyond. It comes down to what Brad Holmes and the team wants to do.
I know. I keep hearing that, though, about Trevor Lawrence. I keep hearing it. But I never see it. Every time I turn the game on, I never see it, ever.
Hey, he had a great game against Baltimore last week. You have to admit that he executed a 2-minute drive. He's improved from last year. I think he's proving that at least he's a player in this league. He's a guy who can be a star.
Fair.
And last year was more of a product of an
And
Urban
he's got
Meyer.
that Urban Meyer stench out of his system now.
Yes.
He had 6 touchdown passes the last 3 games.
Yep.
No interceptions.
Ethan Brown says, you guys are onto something. Chark is a good guy to keep around if the price is right. And we do this as fans all the time. Tony, would you do Chark on a 1-year, $6 million deal? Would I? Yes. Would Chark? No.
Yeah, he's like, I proved I can be a good guy. I proved I can be good in the locker room. Now I'm going to get paid. He did the 1-year thing. You can't get him for another 1-year thing.
Yeah, he's not taking a 40% pay cut. But that is what it is, and that's where Galloping Lake 6, and look, Galloping Lake 6, and I'm glad to see not only our audience here on Big D Energy, Very smart. We have our disagreements sometimes on some core issues, but a very smart audience, a very adaptive audience. Even TFOS is coming around to this. But this just makes me feel good when I hear our audience do this. Galloping Lake 6.
I saw it too, Neal.
Galloping Lake 6.
Yep.
In 3 years, Trevor Lawrence is going to be making $50 million a year.
That's fair.
And in 3 years, Jared Goff.
Is he that good of a quarterback at $50 million, or is Jared Goff a better quarterback at 30?
Jared Goff's better at 30, especially when you look where the market's going. But that's a different conversation for a different day.
Stop it. I think Trevor Lawrence is better today than Jared Goff. What we saw yesterday, Jared Goff, that was a weird game from the standpoint. He had so much time. NFL quarterbacks don't get that much time. They don't have a pocket that clean. If you would put anybody behind yesterday's offensive line for the Lions, they would have performed pretty much the same. So I think we need to look at the line, and it was a bizarre day from the standpoint of, I don't care how good you are in pass protection, you don't provide that much protection for anybody like they did yesterday.
No, I don't know, but because when you go back to it, the fact of the matter is next year that Trevor Lawrence's top weapon is Christian Kirk at a $22 million cap hit. So good luck.
He's having a good year, though.
He's been good.
Yes.
He's been good. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, ...
Better and cheaper.
Way better and way cheaper.
Yep.